What's up? October 28th. Hey, hope you are enjoying salvation today. If you're not, you played yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Hey, no, seriously, I hope you're good today. Hey, I was reading my Bible this morning, and I think I've been feeling this for a little bit, but I was reading some parts in Matthew that are some of the hard parts. And I was joking yesterday because I was hanging out with one of my buddies that's maybe a little more theologically sound than myself. And I was like, nah, I skipped some of the red letters, that are challenging. And we kind of joked, and I was like, crap, am I really? So anyways, I was reading in Matthew 24 and 25 today. And I don't know if you've ever read those parts. I'm going to read you a little bit because I'm feeling a lot of bit of concern about the state of our, salvation and stuff. Now check this out. Matthew 24 says, who then, this is verse 45, okay? Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will put him in charge of his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, my master is staying away a long time. And he begins to beat his servants, eat and drink with the drunkards. The master of the servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and an hour he is not aware, and he will cut him into pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. As I'm reading that, I'm not running around beating people. That's not a thing. But I think that the language that I would put into our culture is, are we given into apathy, laziness, and essentially self-absorbed distraction? Because the servant's going to come back and find us, be like, oh, you chose not to take care of your city? You chose not to take care of those around you? You chose not to share the gospel to actually bring a different kingdom? Then great, I'll put you outside with the hypocrites, the people that say they are, but they're not, where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is talking to me. So I want to put that in front of you guys. You can continue to go on and read Matthew 25. There's a couple stories about some virgins, about the talents, about the sheep and the goat. Essentially what it's talking about is when Jesus comes back, we're not really going to know, but if he catches us being lazy, apathetic, bored, selfish, instead of taking care of the earth, then we'll actually be separated from him. Now that gets into kind of some theology of salvation, and you can do what you want with it, but I would just suggest you read the Bible for yourself. And especially in a day and age where chaos is getting sold online, where the political opinion, the corruption, the perception is stealing our hearts, stealing our minds, stealing our emotion. I just want to say, look out, man. Especially you friends in the church. I want to call you to rise up and actually do what's in here today. Not sometime in the future, but I'm feeling gripped at the state of us of like, man, do we just even care, or do we just want to talk about it online and be like, man, I'm doing something, and then, spend hours just wasting away our lives in selfish ambition. So anyways, I want to put that in front of you. If you're feeling some like, man, what am I doing with my life? I would put a few things in front of you. The first one is how many people in your life are disconnected from God and have no idea of the hope that you're carrying around. Or maybe a better way to put it is, how many people around you know your political opinions but have no idea about the judgment seat of Christ that is awaiting all of us? If there's like more than one, I would suggest we're more interested in our own stuff and ideology than we are in actually seeking and saving the hurting and the broken around us. So that's the first filter. The second one is think about how often in the last week you've actually prayed for somebody. This could be out in public, or this could be in your own private life. For most of us, I find that we pray when things hit the fan. And so maybe we've been kind of given these big generic prayers, for our city or for our nation, which are great. But I want to say, how many people that are disconnected from God have you prayed for? If you can't think of anyone, I would suggest maybe you're more interested in things going well for yourself than you are for the kingdom of heaven actually coming. And the third one would just be, man, look at yourself. Do you have any junk in the closet that you're just letting sit there? Any sin that you're just kind of consuming and hoping it goes away someday? Man, if so, God's not going to be mocked. And we're going to be played by our own selfish arrogance. So, those three things I want to put out there. There's people around you that don't know God and you're just fine with it and haven't done anything about that. If you're finding you're not actually praying for anybody in a specific manner, if you're finding yourself just kind of sitting in patterns of sin, man, all of those are indicators that we're more interested in our own lives and our own selfish prospering than we are doing what the King actually empowered us to do, which is to be His servant and take care of what He's entrusted with us, our families, our workplaces, our cities, our nations. So, anywho, so I want to put in front of you guys today. The text I read earlier is Proverbs 24. It's like 45 to 51 or something. But if you're wanting a little dose of reality, man, Matthew 24. But if you're wanting some reality, man, check out Matthew 24 and 25. It's pretty brutal, and we can't ignore it. Like, judgment's really coming. Jesus is really coming back. And just because we go to church and say we're Christians doesn't actually mean we're connected with Him. And that is absolutely terrifying. So, let's get after it today, church. Don't forget to rejoice in salvation. Yeah, that's all I got today. So we'll see you around the planet. Peace, homies.